Kiss me or you die,
she had said in a desperate bid to save a stranger's life who was about to be killed. But the stranger repaid her by making her a prisoner. I'm Imani, and 3 weeks ago I was working double shifts just to keep my brother in school. Now I'm locked in a penthouse with Atlanta's most dangerous man, a Korean mafia boss who thinks I'm either an asset or a threat. He doesn't believe in coincidences. Doesn't believe I just happened to see the red laser dot on his chest. Doesn't believe I pulled him into that kiss to save his life. He thinks I'm working for his enemies. But here's the thing he's about to learn, I don't miss details. And his organization is full of people who want him dead. I just have to survive long enough to prove I'm on his side. If you're ready for a forbidden mafia romance where one kiss changes everything, hit subscribe now. Like this video and leave a comment. This story has danger, obsession, and a love that could get them both killed. The Grand Marquis Hotel ballroom was the kind of place Imani would never attend as a guest. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, people wearing watches worth more than her yearly rent. But as staff, she was invisible. That's what Imani Kohn liked about catering gigs. Good tips, better food in the kitchen after, and nobody really looked at the help. She circulated with a tray of champagne, her feet already aching in the required black heels. This was her second shift today, 6 hours at the diner this morning, now 4 hours at this charity gala for some tech foundation. Kwame's tuition was due in 2 weeks. She needed every dollar. Champagne, she offered to a group of men in expensive suits speaking rapid Korean. One of them took a glass without looking at her. The others ignored her completely. Invisible. Perfect. She was turning away when her eyes caught on one man standing slightly apart from the others. Tall. Korean. Probably early 30s. Wearing a black suit that probably cost more than her car. But it wasn't his looks that made her pause. It was the way everyone around him maintained exactly 3 feet of distance. Not close enough to seem familiar. Not far enough to seem afraid. The perfect distance of controlled fear. Imani had waited enough tables to read power dynamics. This man wasn't just rich. He was dangerous. She moved away, back toward the kitchen for more champagne. Not her business. Not her world. Just get through the shift, get paid, go home. It happened so fast. Imani was weaving through the crowd when she saw it, a tiny red, barely visible, dancing across the expensive suits. She'd seen laser pointers before. Kids playing. Presentation meetings. But this one moved differently. Searching. Hunting. The dot slid across a woman's shoulder, skipped over a man's back, and settled, steady and small, right over the heart of the tall Korean man from earlier. Time slowed. The man, Tae-hyun, she'd heard someone call him, was mid-conversation, completely unaware. But the man beside him, built like a tank and clearly security, had gone perfectly still. Too still. Like he was waiting for something. The red dot didn't waver. Imani's body moved before her brain caught up. She dropped her tray, champagne glasses shattering on marble, and crossed the space in 4 quick steps. The dangerous man turned at the sound, his eyes meeting hers with cold surprise. Imani grabbed his silk tie and yanked him down, crushing her mouth against his in a hard, graceless kiss. His body went rigid with shock. Behind them, a sound like a firecracker, a wine glass exploding into shards exactly where his head had been a second ago. Screams erupted. People scattered. But Imani held the kiss, held him in place, her heart hammering as she felt rather than saw the red dot slide across her own back, then disappear. When she finally pulled away, the man was staring at her with eyes like black ice. "Down," he said, his voice terrifyingly calm. "Now." He pushed her to the floor as his security swarmed, creating a human shield. Around them was chaos, people running, security shouting, hotel staff trying to control the panic. But the man, Tae-hyun, was completely still, his hand iron tight on her wrist, his eyes scanning the ballroom's upper levels. "Sir, we need to move," the tank-like security guard said. "The sniper?" Taehyun asked in Korean. Gone. Rooftop across the street. Team is pursuing. Taehyun's eyes dropped to Imani, still pinned beneath him on the floor. Who are you? He asked in perfect English. Imani. I work for the catering company. I saw the laser sight, I saw him, she pointed at the security guard, freeze like he was expecting it, and I just. You just kissed me. I blocked the shot, Imani corrected, her fear giving way to indignation. You're welcome, by the way. Something flickered in his expression. Not gratitude. Calculation. Soo-jin, he said to the security guard without breaking eye contact with Imani. Take her. What? No, I need to, my shift. Your shift is over, Taehyun said, standing and pulling her up with him in one smooth motion. You're coming with me. I don't even know you. Then let me introduce myself. His smile was cold and sharp as a blade. Young Taehyun. And you just saved my life or tried to kill me. Either way, you're not going anywhere until I know which. They put her in a black SUV with tinted windows. Soo-jin, the security guard who'd frozen, sat beside her, silent and massive. Imani's phone buzzed. Diana, her coworker, where did you go? The manager is pissed. She started to type a response. No, Soo-jin said, taking her phone. No communication. You can't just take my phone. I have a brother, I need to tell him I'm okay. He'll be informed you're safe. By who? You people. He's 16, he'll freak out. Soo-jin ignored her. The SUV drove for 20 minutes, finally pulling into an underground garage of a sleek high-rise in Buckhead, Atlanta's wealthiest district. They took her up a private elevator that required a key card and fingerprint. The penthouse was exactly what she'd expected, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture, everything in blacks and grays and whites. Expensive art on the walls. A gilded cage. Taehyun was already there, jacket off, tie loosened, speaking rapid Korean into his phone. When he saw her, he ended the call. Sit, he said, gesturing to a chair. I'd rather stand. That wasn't a request. Imani's jaw clenched, but she sat. Show no fear. She'd learned that working restaurants, men like this respected strength, not submission. Taehyun studied her like she was a puzzle to solve. Tell me exactly what you saw. I saw a red laser dot on your chest. I saw your security guard freeze instead of react. I saw you about to die, so I blocked the line of sight. And you just happened to recognize a sniper's laser sight? I've seen enough cop shows. How did you know Soo-jin was compromised? I didn't. But when someone sees a threat and doesn't move, either they're incompetent or complicit. Taehyun's eyes narrowed. Then he looked at Soo-jin. Well. The massive man's face remained impassive. My daughter. They have my daughter. They said if I moved, if I warned you, they'd kill her. Silence filled the room. Where is she? Taehyun asked, his voice dangerously soft. I don't know. They took her from school 3 days ago. I've been waiting for instructions. Soo-jin's voice cracked. I'm sorry, sir. I had no choice. Taehyun was quiet for a long moment. Then, find her. Use every resource we have. Get her back. Sir. I don't kill men for protecting their children. But your service to me is over. He turned away. Get out. Soo-jin bowed deeply and left, his shoulders shaking. Imani stared at Taehyun. You're just letting him go. I'm having him followed. He'll lead me to whoever took his daughter. And when I find them, his smile was terrifying. They'll wish they'd killed me tonight. He poured himself whiskey, didn't offer her any. What about me? Imani asked. I saved your life. Can I go home now? No. Excuse me. Taehyun sat across from her. You identified a threat I didn't see and a mole in my organization within seconds of meeting me. That's either extraordinary instinct or advanced knowledge. I already told you. You told me a story. Now I need the truth. He leaned forward. Who sent you? Who do you work for? I work for Imperial Catering and Joe's Diner on Ponce de Leon, Imani snapped. I'm a waitress, not a spy. Then you're either incredibly lucky or incredibly useful. Either way, you're staying here until I determine which. You can't just kidnap me. I can, Taehyun said calmly. And I have. You'll have your own room, access to anything you need except your phone and freedom. Consider it protective custody. I didn't ask for your protection. No. But you have it anyway. He stood. Minju will show you to your room. Don't try to leave. The building is secure, and my people will stop you. A woman appeared, late 20s, efficient-looking, clearly staff. My brother, Imani started desperately. We'll be told you're taking an unexpected job out of town. He'll be fine. And my jobs? My rent? My life? Your jobs will be informed you quit. Your rent will be paid. Your life, Taehyun paused at the door to what must be his office. Your life just changed, Imani Kohn. The question is whether you're smart enough to adapt. He disappeared into the office, leaving her standing in the pristine living room, her whole world upended by one kiss. Day 1. Imani didn't sleep. The bedroom they'd given her was bigger than her entire apartment. King-size bed, attached bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people, a closet that had been stocked with clothes in exactly her size. That last part was the most disturbing. How did they know her size? She tried the door. Unlocked. That was something. But when she stepped into the hallway, a man in a suit immediately appeared. Ma'am. Can I help you? I'm leaving. I'm afraid that's not possible. You can't keep me here. Mr. Young has asked that you remain for your safety. Please, let me know if you need anything else. Imani went back to her room and tried the windows. 42nd floor. Even if she could break the glass, there was nowhere to go. She was a prisoner. The next morning, Minju brought her breakfast on a tray. Real food, not hotel leftovers or diner scraps. Eggs, fruit, fresh bread, coffee that smelled expensive. Mr. Young would like to see you at 10, Minju said politely. And if I say no? Then I'll return at 10 to escort you anyway. A small smile. He's not used to being told no. Then it'll be good for him, Imani muttered. At exactly 10, Minju returned. Imani had dressed in the clothes provided, designer jeans that fit perfectly, a simple black top, and hated how good they felt. Taehyun was in his office, behind a massive desk, reviewing documents. He didn't look up when she entered. Sit. I'm tired of you ordering me around. He finally looked at her. And I'm tired of people trying to kill me. We both have problems. Despite everything, Imani almost smiled. Almost. She sat. I've reviewed the security footage from last night, Taehyun said, turning his laptop to show her. You looked at the ceiling twice before you saw the laser sight. Why? Imani watched herself on the screen, weaving through the crowd, glancing up, then up again before her head snapped toward him. I heard something. A sound that didn't match. What kind of sound? I don't know. A click? A shift? Something that didn't belong in a ballroom. She frowned. I didn't even think about it consciously. I notice things. What kind of things? Everything. Who's angry before they yell? Who's about to leave before they ask for the check? Who's going to be a problem? She shrugged. When you work for tips and you're a black woman in white spaces, you learn to read a room or you don't survive. Taehyun studied her with those unnerving eyes. You have exceptional situational awareness. I have rent to pay and a brother to feed. It's the same thing. No, he said. It's not. He closed the laptop. Here's your situation, Imani. Someone tried to kill me last night using an inside man. That means my organization has been infiltrated at a high level. Until I root out every mole, everyone is suspect, including you. I'm not. I know. If you were working for my enemies, you would have let me die. But that doesn't mean you're not useful to them in other ways. He stood, walked to the windows. You identified Sujin's compromise in seconds. What else can you see? I don't understand what you're asking. I'm asking if you can do it again. Spot threats. Identify anomalies. See what others miss. Imani's heart raced. You want me to spy for you? I want you to observe. To tell me what doesn't fit. He turned to face her. In exchange, I'll pay you more than you've made in a year. Your brother will want for nothing. Your life will be comfortable. But I'll be your prisoner. You'll be under my protection, he corrected. There's a difference. Not to me. Taehyun moved closer, and Imani forced herself not to lean back. Someone tried to kill me last night, Imani. They will try again. And now that you've been seen with me, now that you saved me, you're a target too. Ice slid down her spine. What? My enemies will want to know who you are. What you saw. Whether you're important to me. His voice was matter-of-fact, like he was discussing the weather. The safest place for you is here, where I can control the variables. You're saying I'm stuck here whether I help you or not. I'm saying you have a choice, stay here as a protected prisoner, or stay here as a valued consultant. Either way, you stay. Imani wanted to scream. To throw something. To run. But she'd learned a long time ago that surviving meant adapting. How long, she asked. Until the threat is eliminated. And if that takes months? Years? Then you'll be very well compensated. He returned to his desk. Think about it. You have until tonight to decide. That afternoon, they finally let her call Kwame. Mani. Her brother's voice was relieved. Where are you? Diana said you had some emergency job. Imani's throat tightened. Yeah. Last-minute event coordination thing. Out of town for a bit. I'm sorry I didn't call sooner, they had me running. Are you okay? You sound weird. I'm fine. Just tired. Hey, check your account, I sent money for this month and next. She hadn't, but she knew Taehyun was listening. If he wanted her cooperation, he could damn well follow through. Seriously? Mani, that's a lot. Are you sure you're okay? I'm sure. Focus on school. I'll be back soon. After she hung up, Minju handed her a tablet showing a bank transfer. Twice Kwame's tuition, plus rent for 3 months, had been deposited in her account. Mr. Young honors his commitments, Minju said quietly. Imani stared at the numbers. More money than she'd made in 6 months of double shifts. She was being bought. And the worst part? She couldn't afford to say no. That night, Imani found Taehyun in the living room, working on a laptop. I'll do it, she said without preamble. But I have conditions. He closed the laptop. I'm listening. First, I call Kwame twice a week. No restrictions. Agreed, with supervision. Second, you pay me like an actual employee. Contract, terms, everything legal. Done. Third, if I help you find your moles, you let me go. Back to my life. Taehyun was quiet for a moment. If you help me eliminate the threat, I'll consider releasing you from protection. I won't promise more than that. It wasn't what she wanted. But it was something. And fourth, Imani added, you stop treating me like I'm either stupid or suspicious. I saved your life. Start acting like it. The corner of his mouth lifted, almost a smile. Anything else? Yeah. Stop looking at me like I'm a puzzle you're trying to solve. That, Taehyun said, I can't promise. Because you are a puzzle, Imani Kone. And I always solve my puzzles. 3 days into her captivity/employment, Taehyun brought Imani her first real assignment. You're coming with me tonight, he said during breakfast, a routine they'd fallen into where he worked on his tablet while she ate, both pretending this was normal. Where? Imani asked, immediately suspicious. Business dinner. 5 associates, all Korean, all part of my import operations. One of them might be compromised. And you want me to, what? Wait tables? His eyes flicked up to her. I want you to observe. Read the room. Tell me who doesn't fit. I'm not a human lie detector. No. You're better. You see what people reveal before they know they're revealing it. He set down his tablet. This is your chance to prove your value isn't just coincidence. Imani's stomach churned. And if I can't? Then we'll know the kiss was luck, and you're just another liability I need to manage. The challenge in his voice sparked something in her. Fine. But I'm not pretending to be your girlfriend or some decoration on your arm. You'll be my new security consultant. Recent hire. They'll accept it. Will they accept that I'm black? Taehyun's expression didn't change. Anyone who has a problem with what you are has a problem with me. And people don't have problems with me twice. It should have sounded arrogant. Instead, it sounded like a promise. The restaurant was exclusive, the kind with no sign, just a red door and a host who checked the list. Taehyun's hand rested on the small of Imani's back as they entered, proprietary and warm. She'd been dressed by Minju in a tailored black pantsuit that screamed expensive, her braids swept into an elegant updo. She looked professional. Polished. Nothing like the waitress who'd worked this same kind of room a week ago. The difference was perspective. Then, she'd been invisible. Now, walking in with Taehyun, every eye tracked her. Relax, he murmured near her ear. You belong here. I'm pretending to be a security consultant for a crime boss. I definitely don't belong here. Then pretend better. 5 men stood as they approached the private room. All Korean, ranging from 40s to 60s, expensive suits, calculating eyes. These were not corporate executives. These were predators in tailored wool. Taehyun made introductions in Korean, then switched to English. Gentlemen, this is Ms. Kone, my new security consultant. She'll be observing tonight. A woman, one of them, Mr. Park, said with barely concealed disdain. Insecurity? Yes, Imani said before Taehyun could respond. Turns out criminals assume women are decorative. Makes my job easier. Silence. Then one of the men, Mr. Choi, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, laughed. I like her. She has spine. They sat. Imani took a position slightly behind and to the left of Taehyun, the way security would. Close enough to observe, far enough to seem deferential. And she watched. The dinner proceeded in a mix of Korean and English. Business talk, shipping schedules, port access, merchandise that Imani knew wasn't entirely legal. She'd been briefed by Taehyun, these 5 men controlled different nodes of his East Coast network. Trusted associates. Or they were supposed to be. Imani didn't focus on the words. She focused on everything else. Mr. Park, aggressive, dismissive, constantly checking his phone under the table. But his tells were obvious, a man used to being important who resented taking orders. Arrogant, not duplicitous. Mr. Choi, calm, attentive, made direct eye contact. Ate his food, drank moderately. Comfortable. A man with nothing to hide. Mr. Lim, nervous, but had been from the start. Fidgeted with his napkin, laughed too loud at jokes. But he'd been that way through the entire meal, baseline anxiety, not situational stress. Mr. Beck, quiet, observant, barely spoke. Watched Taehyun the way a student watches a teacher. Respectful distance. And then there was Mr. Yoon Do-hyun. Taehyun's second-in-command. Family friend. The man who'd been at Taehyun's side since they were teenagers. He smiled at all the right moments. Agreed with Taehyun's decisions. Poured drinks. Played the perfect loyal lieutenant. But his eyes. They moved differently when he thought no one was watching. Always tracking exits. Calculating distances. And when Taehyun spoke about increasing security after the assassination attempt, Do-hyun's smile had tightened for just a fraction of a second. Not concern. Frustration. Imani's heart rate picked up. She forced herself to keep watching, not to react. Do-hyun excused himself to take a call 20 minutes into dinner. He was gone for exactly 4 minutes. When he returned, there was a tiny speck of white on his collar, like he'd brushed against something dusty. The bathroom she'd passed on the way in had been pristine. No construction, no dust. He'd gone somewhere else. In the car afterward, Taehyun didn't speak until they were moving. Well, he asked. Imani chose her words carefully. Park is an asshole but he's loyal. Hates taking orders but follows them. Choi is solid, comfortable, no hidden stress. Lim is anxious but that's his baseline. Baek barely spoke, but his body language is respectful, not suspicious. And Do-hyun? Imani's throat went dry. He's your second-in-command. Your family friend. I ask what you observed, not what you think I want to hear. She took a breath. He left for 4 minutes during dinner. Said he was taking a call but came back with dust on his collar. The bathroom was clean, he went somewhere else. And when you talked about increased security, his micro-expression wasn't concern. It was annoyance. The silence in the car was suffocating. You're accusing Do-hyun of being compromised, Taehyun said quietly. I'm telling you what I saw. You asked me to observe. I observed. More silence. Then Taehyun spoke to the driver in Korean, rapid, clipped commands. The car changed directions. What are you doing? Imani asked. Testing your theory. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Trace Do-hyun's phone. Tell me everywhere he's been in the last week. And pull security footage from the restaurant, I want to know where he went during dinner. When he hung up, his expression was unreadable. If you're wrong, he said, you've just accused my oldest friend of treason. And if I'm right? Then I've been betrayed by family. His jaw clenched. Which is worse? They returned to the penthouse. 30 minutes later, Taehyun's tech team had the footage. Do-hyun had indeed left the private dining room. But instead of going to the bathroom, he'd slipped out a side door to the alley behind the restaurant. The footage showed him meeting with someone for exactly 90 seconds. The other person's face wasn't visible, they'd known where the cameras were. But when Do-hyun returned inside, his collar had white residue. The alley had a dumpster area with construction debris. The phone trace was even more damning. 3 calls to an unlisted number in the past week. Each call made when he was alone, away from Taehyun. Taehyun watched the footage 3 times without speaking. Then he stood, walked to the windows, and stared at the Atlanta skyline for a long moment. Do-hyun and I grew up together, he finally said. When my father was killed, Do-hyun stood beside me. Helped me build this empire. I trusted him with my life. I'm sorry, Imani said quietly. Don't be sorry. Be right. He turned to face her. Because if you're right, you just saved my life a second time. And if you're wrong, I'm about to destroy an innocent man. I'm right, Imani said, more confident than she felt. Taehyun studied her. Then he made another call. Bring Do-hyun to the secondary location. Quietly. Now. Imani didn't see what happened when they brought Do-hyun in. Taehyun left her in the penthouse with instructions not to leave. He returned 3 hours later, his knuckles bruised, his expression carved from ice. You were right, he said. He's been feeding information to the Nakamura organization for 6 months. They have leverage, gambling debts he hid from me. The assassination attempt was meant to look like the Nakamuras while actually being ordered by them. Do Hyun was supposed to ensure I was in position. Imani's legs felt weak. Is he alive? For now. Talking. Giving me everything. Taehyun poured himself a drink, downed it. You identified a threat I lived with for 6 months. A man I considered family. I just noticed. You saved my life. Again. He set down the glass, moved closer. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. This was the job. No. His hand came up, fingers brushing her jaw, the first intentional touch that wasn't about control. This was extraordinary. You are extraordinary. Imani's breath caught. This close, she could see the exhaustion in his eyes. The betrayal. The loneliness of a man who couldn't trust anyone. I'm sorry it was him, she said softly. I'm not. Taehyun's thumb traced her cheekbone. If it hadn't been him, I wouldn't have known what you can do. What you're worth. I'm not a tool. No, he agreed. You're not. You're. He stopped, searching for words. You're something I didn't know I needed. The air between them charged with something dangerous. Imani stepped back. You're emotional. You just found out your best friend betrayed you. Don't say things you don't mean. I never say things I don't mean. But he let her retreat. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we plan our next move. Which is? War, Taehyun said simply. The Nakamuras tried to kill me. Now I return the favor. 2 weeks later. Living with Taehyun had developed a strange rhythm. Mornings, they had breakfast together, him working, her reading news or books he had delivered. He'd learned she liked her coffee with too much cream and always ordered extra fruit because she ate it first. Afternoons, she observed. Sometimes meetings in the penthouse. Sometimes she reviewed security footage, identifying patterns and anomalies. Once, she'd attended a warehouse inspection and spotted a worker who moved wrong, turned out he was DEA, undercover. Taehyun had handled it. Imani hadn't asked how. Evenings were harder. That's when the walls between captor and captive, employer and employee, blurred into something neither of them acknowledged. They'd started having dinner together. Talking. Not about business, about everything else. He told her about growing up between two worlds, Korean and American, never quite fitting in either. About his father's death and the weight of inheriting an empire at 25. She told him about Ghana, about losing her parents, about raising Kwame and the constant fear that she wasn't enough. You're more than enough, Taehyun had said one night, his eyes intense. You're the strongest person I've met. You run a criminal empire. You've probably met a lot of strong people. Strong in violence, yes. Strong in survival like you. He shook his head. That's rare. The compliment had settled in her chest, warm and unwanted. Because Imani was starting to feel things she absolutely should not feel for the man holding her captive. It happened on a Wednesday. Imani was reviewing footage in Taehyun's office while he was on a call in the next room. She'd gotten comfortable here, too comfortable, probably. Started thinking of the penthouse as home instead of prison. That's why she didn't immediately panic when she heard the voices. Shouting. In Korean. Angry. Then a crash. Imani ran to the living room and froze. 3 men were inside, armed, wearing masks. One had a gun pointed at the door where Taehyun would emerge. The security that was supposed to be in the building was conspicuously absent. This was a hit. A planned execution. The men hadn't noticed her yet, they were focused on the hallway. Imani's mind raced. No weapon. No training. Nothing but. Her eyes landed on the decorative vase on the side table. Heavy. Crystal. She grabbed it and threw it at the nearest window with all her strength. The glass exploded outward, not the window itself, which was probably reinforced, but the vase shattered spectacularly. The men spun toward her. Building security. Imani shouted in the most authoritative voice she could muster. Shots fired, 42nd floor. Officers en route. It was complete bullshit. But it was also chaos, and chaos created hesitation. The hesitation was enough. Taehyun burst from the hallway, gun in hand. Imani hadn't even known he kept one in there, and fired twice. 2 men dropped. The third raised his weapon. Imani grabbed a heavy book from the coffee table and hurled it at his head. It connected. The man stumbled. Taehyun's third shot didn't miss. Silence, except for Imani's ragged breathing and the ringing in her ears from the gunshots. Taehyun crossed to her in 3 strides. Are you hurt? No. Her legs gave out. He caught her, lowering them both to the floor. You're okay. You're safe. Look at me. Imani looked. His face was intense, focused entirely on her. I almost died, she whispered. You didn't. You saved us both. His hand cupped her face. That was incredibly stupid and incredibly brave. I threw a vase. You created a distraction that gave me time to react. You saved my life. Again. We really need to stop making this a habit. The absurdity of it broke something. Taehyun laughed, actually laughed, sharp and shocked, and then he was kissing her. Not like the first time. Not desperate and tactical. This kiss was claiming. Grateful. Real. And Imani kissed him back, her hands fisting in his shirt, her world narrowing to this moment, this man, this impossible thing growing between them. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Taehyun pressed his forehead to hers. This is a terrible idea, he said. The worst, Imani agreed. You work for me. You're under my protection. The power dynamic is completely messed up. I know. And I still want you. His voice was rough. I've wanted you since you grabbed my tie and kissed me to save my life. Maybe before. Imani's heart hammered. Before? You didn't even know me. I knew you were willing to risk yourself for a stranger. That you saw threats I missed. That you were brave and smart and, he stopped. This is already complicated. So let's not make it more complicated. But Imani didn't move away. Neither did he. They stayed there, on the floor, surrounded by broken glass and dead assassins, holding each other like anchors in a storm. Finally, Taehyun's phone rang. Reality intruding. He answered, still watching her. Yes. 3 hostiles, neutralized. 42nd floor. Get a cleanup crew. A pause. And find out how they got past building security. Someone's getting fired. Or worse. He hung up. I should let you go, he said. To my room. To your life. This, what I'm doing, keeping you here, it's not right. Imani's chest tightened. You said I was still in danger. You are. More now than ever. He stood, helped her up. Every time you save me, you become more valuable to my enemies. They'll want to know who you are. What you mean to me. What do I mean to you? The question hung between them. I don't know yet, Taehyun finally said. But it's more than I should allow. That night, Imani couldn't sleep. She found Taehyun on the balcony, a space she'd only recently been allowed to access, staring at the city. Can't sleep either, she asked. I keep thinking about what would have happened if you weren't there. If you hadn't reacted. He didn't look at her. Do-hyun's betrayal compromised our security rotations. Those men knew exactly when to strike. But they failed. Because of you. He finally turned. Imani, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay. If I gave you your freedom right now, your life back, enough money to never work double shifts again, protection for you and Kwame, would you take it? Imani's breath caught. Are you offering that? I'm asking what you'd choose. She should say yes. Should take the money and run, get back to her real life, away from assassination attempts and moral complexity. But what would happen to you if I left? She asked. I'd survive. I always do. That's not what I asked. Taehyun moved closer. I'd lose the one person who sees threats before they materialize. Who's saved my life 3 times in 3 weeks. Who makes me feel less alone in this world I've built. So you want me to stay because I'm useful. I want you to stay because, he stopped, jaw clenching. Because when I think about you leaving, about never seeing you again, it feels like losing something vital. And I don't know when that happened. When you stopped being a liability and became what? Someone I can't let go, he finished quietly. Imani's heart raced. That's not healthy. Nothing about my life is healthy. But you make it feel like it could be. Taehyun. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not even asking you to stay forever. His hand came up, tucking a braid behind her ear. I'm just asking, if you had the choice, if it was truly your decision with no coercion, would you stay? Imani knew what she should say. The smart answer. The safe answer. But since when had her life been smart or safe? I'd stay, she whispered. Not because I have to. Because I want to. His eyes closed. You shouldn't. Probably not. But I'm tired of doing what I should. She stepped closer. I spent my whole life being responsible, being safe, being the person everyone needed me to be. And then I kissed you, and everything changed. I changed. Into what? Into someone brave enough to choose what I want instead of what makes sense. She met his eyes. I want to stay. With you. Despite the danger and the complications and the fact that this is absolutely insane. It is insane, Taehyun agreed. Then he kissed her again, deeper this time, his hands cradling her face like she was something precious. When they broke apart, he said, if you stay, it's not as my prisoner or my employee. Then what? My partner. In everything. Equal stakes, equal decisions. He searched her face. Can you live with that? With what I am? What I do? Imani thought about the bodies in the living room. The casual violence. The moral gray areas she'd be navigating. I don't know, she said honestly. But I want to try. Then try, Taehyun said. And if it becomes too much, if you want out, you tell me. No locks. No guards. You walk away, I let you go. You promise? I promise. It should have felt like freedom. Instead, it felt like choosing a beautiful cage. But at least this time, it was her choice. 1 month in, Imani's life had become surreal. Mornings, she video called Kwame before school. He thought she was consulting for a tech security company, not entirely a lie. Taehyun had set up a legitimate LLC in her name, complete with tax documents and a salary that made her dizzy. Days, she worked. Really worked. Reviewing security protocols, attending meetings, identifying threats. Taehyun valued her input now, treated her like the partner he'd promised she'd be. And nights. Nights were complicated. They hadn't slept together. Not like that. But the boundaries had blurred. He'd fall asleep on the couch while working, and she'd drape a blanket over him. She'd have nightmares about the assassination attempt, and he'd appear at her door without being called, sitting with her until she could sleep again. They'd have dinner and talk for hours, about everything and nothing. It felt like dating. Like a relationship. Except for the part where he was still a crime lord and she was still complicit in his empire. It had been 6 weeks since Imani had seen her best friend. They'd texted, carefully, with Taehyun's approval, but Diana was getting suspicious. I miss you, Diana said during their scheduled call. This job has you working insane hours. I know. I'm sorry. The contract is just, it's intense. Is your boss good to you? You sound different. Imani glanced at Taehyun, who was across the room pretending not to listen. He's complicated. But yes. Good to me. Mani, if something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I promise. Different, but not wrong. After the call, Taehyun asked, do you want to see her? What? Your friend. You miss her. I could arrange a meeting. Supervised location, security present, but, you could see her. The offer was so unexpected, so thoughtful, that Imani's throat tightened. You'd let me do that? I told you, you're not a prisoner. If you want to maintain parts of your old life, I'll make it possible. He paused. Within reason. I can't risk your safety. Thank you, Imani said softly. Don't thank me for basic decency. In your world, this isn't basic. It's extraordinary. His expression shifted. Maybe you're changing my world, then. They arranged to meet Diana at a high-end cafe in Midtown, one that Taehyun's people had swept for security. Imani wore normal clothes, left the designer wardrobe behind, tried to be the person Diana remembered. But the moment her friend saw her, Diana knew something had changed. Oh my God, Mani, Diana breathed, hugging her tight. You look different. Good different, but different. New job treating me well, Imani said, sliding into the booth. New job or new man? Diana's eyes were sharp. Because you're glowing, girl, and I know that glow. Imani flushed. It's complicated. Is he treating you right? Because if he's not. He is. I swear. It's just. How could she explain? We work together. He's my boss. And it's intense and sometimes scary, but also. You're falling for him. Maybe. Yes. I don't know. Imani ran her hand over her face. I can't give you details. Not because I don't want to, but because it's genuinely complicated. Just, trust me when I say I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. Diana studied her. You're happy. I am. Surprisingly. Then I'm happy for you. She squeezed Imani's hand. But if he hurts you, I don't care how rich or powerful he is, I'll come for him. Imani laughed. Noted. Across the cafe, she could see two of Taehyun's security team, blending in. Protecting her even when he wasn't physically present. It should have felt suffocating. Instead, it felt like being valued. The peace shattered 3 days later. Imani was in Taehyun's office when he got the call. She watched his face go from calm to furious in seconds. When? He demanded. How many? A pause. Get every available team to the location. Now. He hung up, already moving. What happened? Imani asked. The Nakamuras hit one of my warehouses. Killed 3 of my people, took 2 hostage. His voice was ice. They're sending a message. What kind of message? That they're done being subtle. He grabbed his jacket, his gun. I have to go. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. You said I was your partner. Partners don't stay home when things get dangerous. Partners also don't walk into war zones, Taehyun countered. This is different, Imani. This is violence. Real violence. I've already survived 3 attempts on your life. Because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm not deliberately putting you in danger. You're not putting me anywhere. I'm choosing. She grabbed her own jacket. I can help. I can see things you miss. You know that. Taehyun's jaw clenched. If I take you and something happens to you. Then you'll deal with it. Like you deal with everything. She moved closer. I'm not fragile, Taehyun. Stop treating me like I am. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, stay behind me. Do exactly as I say. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood? Understood. The warehouse was in an industrial area near the port. By the time they arrived, Taehyun's team had already surrounded the building. Minju met them outside. Two hostiles inside with our people. They're demanding negotiation. What do they want? Taehyun asked. You. They want to talk to you directly. It's a trap, Imani said immediately. They know you'll come for your people. They're using them as bait. I know, Taehyun said. But I can't leave my people in there. So we spring the trap carefully. Imani studied the building. What's the layout? Minju pulled up blueprints on a tablet. Main floor is open warehouse space. Office on the second level, loading dock in back. Exits. 3. Front, back, side emergency. Imani's mind raced, the same way it did when she was reading a room. Looking for patterns, for what didn't fit. The side emergency exit, she said. Does it have exterior access? Yes. Fire escape. That's how they'll extract if things go wrong. They won't use the front, too exposed. Back is probably where their vehicle is. Side gives them a third option. She looked at Taehyun. Put your best people on that exit. If this goes bad, that's where they run. Taehyun studied her. Then nodded to Minju. Do it. And give her a vest. Sir. That wasn't a request. They outfitted Imani with a bulletproof vest that was way too big, made her stay behind 3 layers of security, and Taehyun approached the warehouse. Through the open door, Imani could hear the conversation. Young Taehyun. A voice in accented English. You want your people back. What do you want? Taehyun called back. Respect. You've been disrespecting the Nakamura family. Taking our business, undercutting our prices, stealing our clients. That's called competition. That's called war. A pause. We're willing to make peace. Split territories. Share operations. But you have to bend the knee. I don't kneel, Taehyun said flatly. Movement inside. Imani's heart raced. Then she saw it, a third person, moving in the shadows near the side exit. Not one of Taehyun's people. Someone in position. Taehyun, she shouted. Third hostile, side exit, he's flanking. Everything happened at once. Gunfire erupted. Taehyun's team returned fire. The hostages screamed. And the third hostile, exactly where Imani had predicted, trying to escape through the emergency exit, ran straight into the team Taehyun had positioned there. 10 minutes later, it was over. 2 Nakamura soldiers dead, 1 captured. Taehyun's people safe. And Imani, shaking behind a car, trying to process that she just called targets in an actual firefight. Taehyun found her there. You okay? I think I'm going to throw up. That's normal. He sat beside her. You saved my people. Spotting that third hostile, if you hadn't, he would have flanked us. I just saw movement. I didn't. You saw what others missed. Again. He pulled her close. You're extraordinary, Imani Kohn. And you scare the hell out of me. Why? Because I'm falling in love with you, and people I love die. The words hung in the air. Imani turned to look at him. What did you say? You heard me. His eyes were dark, intense. I'm falling in love with you. And that makes you the most dangerous thing in my life. Because your enemies will use me against you. Because I'll destroy the world to keep you safe, and that kind of weakness is fatal in my world. Imani's heart hammered. That's not love, Taehyun. That's obsession. In my world, they're the same thing. He cupped her face. Tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me this is one-sided and I'll find a way to let you go. Imani stopped. Because she did feel it. The pull. The connection. The terrifying, exhilarating fall into something that could destroy them both. I feel it, she whispered. And it scares me too. Good, Taehyun said. Fear means you understand what's at stake. He kissed her there, in the shadow of violence, surrounded by his soldiers and the aftermath of war. And Imani kissed him back, choosing this dangerous man in his dangerous world, knowing it might be the death of her. But feeling, for the first time in her life, truly alive.